Radio.com.
You're amazing. Give us one piece of advice from your journey for these women to love themselves.
I recently just started looking in the mirror at myself, and I'm 34, and I started looking at myself in the mirror, and I had to learn how to appreciate what God has made me and stop looking at what's wrong when everybody tells me everything is right. And some of you don't know, I have 8 children. I recently just had a baby on my birthday, March 10th of last year. So she's 1 now. It's so hard because people think you're supposed to be bony, and I'm like, I got a big old booty and big old boobies. What the hell you want me to do? Die? Starve? But I will say this. To any woman that feels like they have any kind of problem with yourself, just start with one thing. Me, I like hair. I look in the mirror and I say, I love my hair today because I put it on. But it's still mine, so that's something about me. Just start with one thing and pray and ask God to help you to see more, because I'm now noticing that I have a very nice voice that everybody does not have. You laughing, but it's a real thing. I didn't know that I had all that. You know what I mean? And until I see people being saved and being brought to Christ, and I'm like, whoa, okay, so thank you. And I appreciate it. And I'm very blessed, and I thank God for that. Your turn again.
Yeah. Kelly, before we go there, listen, she was the voice, low-key, a bad boy for a little good minute. We're not going to just give us a little bit on your journey, your connection with Bad Boy, your connection with the women on this stage.
Yes.
And what do we need to know? Talk to us.
Okay, I'm gonna be up here crying like in real life.
Don't do it.
I'm trying to fight back the tears. First of all, let me say to every woman on this panel, to Total, I thank you, I love you, I appreciate you. When I was the low man on the totem pole and I was only good enough to write music and sing other people's stuff and not be seen, and I was asked to be you all's vocal coach and work with you in the studio, they, hands down, were the most respectful artists I ever worked with. They did what I told them to do. They didn't look at me like, well, who are you, fat girl? I had that happen. I had it, and you'd be surprised. Some of the artists you know and love were disrespectful to me because I was nobody. I was nobody. But they always respected that I was who I was because I was there, and I was there for a reason. And I'll never forget talking with them one day at Daddy's house, and I'm kind of being really careful because when you're a behind-the-scenes person and you're working with artists, you already know, and if you don't, you'll find out really quickly. Stay in your lane, make sure you stay respectful, don't overstep your boundaries. You know, you have to be authoritative, but you can't be too forceful. And so keeping all of this in mind, I'm trying to instruct them and let them know, no, you got to do that again. And sometimes I didn't want to tell them because it's time number 10, but y'all got to do that again because I know you can get that better than that. And they stopped me to tell me, we're here. We're going to do whatever you tell us to do because we want to be our best. I want to say that to you today. You gave me a confidence because you respected me when everybody was still saying I wasn't good enough to be anything other than behind the scenes. So thank you. I can't cry. Nikki has a heart that's bigger than this room. And I've known her for a very long time. And I'm not going to harp on it too much, but I just know that when she was getting a very, very, very bad rap, it was so not who she is. And I remember when she started papering ideas of women's empowerment and coming together to tour and do shows and create. This was on paper well over a decade ago. And I remember her sharing it with me. I actually found the email in my old AOL account. Don't ask me how I got back in it, but I found it. I don't even use that thing. I haven't used it in years. But do you remember maybe about a year ago, I was like, Nikki, look what I found. And I sent it to her. And all of this stuff just being laid out on paper. You are our living, breathing, walking proof of write the vision and make it plain. You are. And the people that hear it, they're going to run with it. And though the vision is for an appointed time. It may not come right away, but keep speaking it because it's going to live. It's not going to lie. And you are a living, breathing example of that. So thank you for that. Faith Evans, we knew each other before Bad Boy. we were these kid phenomenons in the Tri-City area of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. She was that girl from Jersey who used to come across the water and lay everybody out. We would be at these back home hours and these midnight musicals in Brooklyn, and we were the youngest people sitting in the room. Myself, my sister, Cherie, the Price sisters, and Faith. And we just knew she was that girl that was singing her face off. We'd be sitting in these musicals. Hezekiah Walker would have these musicals, and we'd be sitting in the back of the church, and somebody would be done slipped her name up to the MC. They'd been slipped my sister and my name up to the MC, and next thing you know, we both on program. But we were these kids that was singing on programs with full-grown people, and there was just something different. So before we even had a chance to know each other, we had come across each other in that sense, not knowing that we would become so close. And I say this to her all the time. She's like, girl, please. But I am probably the biggest groupie friend that she has. I really, really am. I still look at her sometimes and I'm like, yo, she's my friend. She's my friend because I listen to her and I love her and I respect her gift so much. She's just an amazing friend. As big of a talent as she is, you'll never understand that the talent does not measure up to her friendship and her level of dedication and love for the people that she loves. And so I so love her for that. I want to say this, and more so than talk about myself, because this clearly is a ministry moment, even though it's under this guise. I listened to everybody, and I came in and I realized that there was a lot of discussion about loss today. I lost my baby sister in 2014, Resurrection Sunday. I was on a stage on the West Coast doing a sound check. On a Saturday night, it had already turned to Sunday morning in New York where she lived. And my son was there with me, and he was trying to get me to walk off the stage because he had just received the phone call that my baby sister's heart had stopped beating. She was 36 years old. And I knew that my sister had been having some health challenges, but nobody in the family knew that she was actually sick enough to die because she didn't tell any of us that. So when I came, I was kind of, telling my son, go somewhere. Don't bother me when I'm on stage. And he gave me this look and he said, Mommy, put the mic down and come off the stage. Now, my kids know I'm crazy. So for him to speak to me that way, I knew something was wrong. I literally didn't say anything. I just passed the mic off to one of the background singers and I walked off to the side of the stage. And so when I found out what had happened, needless to say, my night was finished at that point. There were 3 of us. We've been through a life of a lot of hardship. Homeless twice before I was 18 years old. I know what it is to sleep outside in the cold in New York City. I was always a fat kid, but I know what it was like to go to bed with nothing to eat at night. We didn't have a lot of anything. We wore hand-me-down clothes. My shoes used to do this in the front. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah. They would see us coming and they would go, there go Kelly and them shoes is talking again. They did. They talked. And so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because people say to me, oh my God, your voice. There are people sleeping under bridges who are more talented than I am. But God decided that he was going to take this girl, right? Who really came from nothing. The greatest asset I had in my entire life was my faith. To this day, it's my greatest asset because I don't care how far I fall. If I have my faith, I'm getting back up again. You're going to be hard-pressed to keep me down, I promise you, because my faith is not a punk. It's not. It's not. I didn't understand why my baby sister had to die. But through her death, I was given the strength to love myself enough to walk away from a toxic relationship that I had been in for so long. And I'm not going to get too far into that because I was married for a very long time. I married my childhood sweetheart. We knew each other as kids and we both had a lot of issues. People develop out of their issues at different paces. But I had stayed there too long because it was stunting me. And it had me in a place where I couldn't love myself because I wasn't being loved the way I deserved. I thought I didn't deserve love like that. So I looked at myself in the mirror, Keke, and I always thought I was the ugliest girl in the room. I always thought I was the ugliest girl in the room.
You're beautiful, Kelly.
Thank you. I love you. And let me just say this. Everyone in this room, if you haven't already experienced it, you're going to experience loss. That's guaranteed in life. And it's hard when you're dealing with it. I had to just tell myself intellectually what my heart wasn't ready to accept. That God is sovereign. He does not make mistakes. I know my sister was dealing with a lot of stuff. He knew better that she was going to do better with him than on earth. So he took her. And what good could come from that? But what good came from it is that I was finally able to see myself the way the Father sees me. Worthy, honorable, deserving, all of those things. I don't have to look down at myself. I don't have to dumb myself down so that somebody else is comfortable. He made me who I am. He made you who you are. If you're dumbing yourself down so that everybody in your circle feels more comfortable when they're around you, change your circle. God doesn't give us gifts and abilities and talents to not use them. You're not being arrogant. You are not being a show-off. Always put your best foot forward. If somebody else can't hang, that's their issue, not yours. It's a disrespect to God the Father to not be the best you that He created you to be. If beauty is one of your gifts, rock your beauty and all the ugly people fall back. It won't ever be that again, not for me. But in resolving that inside myself, I want everybody, I woke up one morning and I said, God, I want everybody to feel like this. I really do. I really do. There are so many unhappy people in the world. And a lot of times that's what you're getting when you're around people. You're like, God, her face, she always got the screw face on. It ain't even got nothing to do with you. Even sometimes the way they talking to you, the way they react, it ain't got nothing to do with you. You don't know what people are going home to. I stood on stages to tens of thousands of people and empowered women and empowered people and told them that you were worth it and told them you don't have to take that. And I was going home and taking it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you don't get anything else from this room, you walk out of this room telling yourself, and this has been the theme for my life, because you're not going to always get everything. I said I wasn't going to sing, but I'm going to sing a little piece of this song because you're messing with me right now.
Sing, Kelly!
You're messing with me right now.
Give him praise.
What God has dropped into my spirit is that He's never blindsided even when we are. I want you to take that in for a second. Never blindsided. He's never blindsided, even when we are. So when something happens in your life that you didn't see coming, that surprise thing, that thing that upset you, that thing that you think is going to, it can't derail you. It can only derail you if it gets permission, I promise you. And it doesn't have permission, whatever it is, to derail you. God is never blindsided, even when we are. So if He allowed it to be, He has already provided an answer to every question, a solution for every problem, and a way of escape so you can bear it. It can't happen if He doesn't allow it. So understanding that even if you don't get it and you didn't see it coming, He did. So quiet yourself, still yourself. He's going to send you what you need to hear so you can move forward and not make the wrong move. And sometimes He'll reveal that to you. Sometimes you gotta really pay attention. It'll come through your children. It'll come through. I had a bum walk up to me, and that's probably not the correct word. A homeless person walk up to me on the street one day and say something to me that was so profound and revealing, and if I wasn't paying attention, I would have missed it. So if you find yourself in a place of indecision, if you find yourself in a place where you've been blindsided, tell yourself, I didn't catch it, but He already knew it was coming. So He's not going to let me, He's not going to let that take me out of here. I just got to pay attention so I can hear what He's saying to me so I can make my way out of this situation the right way. He did not bring you this far to leave you. Thank you, James Cleveland. He did not bring you this far. That's not who He is. It's not who He is. All right? Many things